Wow, that's different. I really like that. Peychauds or Peychauds or Peychaud.
Yeah, now I'm gorgeous, although probably fuzzier was better.
Okay, so this is not what I expected. And hello, welcome. It's Beautiful Bourbon. It's Thursday, and we are rocking and rolling. Hi, everybody. Hi, Michael. Hey, Kevin. How are you? Everybody who's watching that I maybe missed as you were coming in, good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Tonight we're doing the Bulleit 10-year. This was a viewer recommendation, and you know I love viewer recommendations because it prompts me to try something that maybe I've had for a while and I don't open. We've done Bulleit before. We did Bulleit last July, and it was kind of interesting to see how that played out. I really didn't have a lot of expectations because I drink Bulleit a lot, and I've never given it a proper tasting until last July. One of the first things I noticed was that orange zest coming over my palate. The honey was really nice. Cinnamon came over, the caramel came over. So now we're going to do the 10-year. This is the exact same thing. Well, this one's a little more empty. But they're the exact same thing. They have the exact same mash bill. It's 68% corn, 28% rye. It's a high rye, and just 4% malted barley. Distillate for the bourbon is sourced from Four Roses in Lawrenceburg, which is also the home of MGP, Ross Squibb, that sources the rye for Bulleit Rye. Okay, so let's see, what do they say about this? The one that you just saw that was from Bourbcast 106. I think this is 136, so 30 weeks later. This is just a go-to for me. I just love this stuff. And look at the difference. Look at the difference in the color. Big difference in color. All right, we are going to do a side-by-side. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else. Okay, so the original, this one, is $26.99. This one's a little bit more. It's $44.99. The 10-year age statement bourbon started back in 2013, part of a Bulleit expansion. Has the same mash bill as this is called the no age statement version of it. And of course, this is a 10-year. The 10-year-old, the youngest whiskey that goes in this is 10 years. So they're going to have some barrels that they'll blend into it that are 11 years, some of them that are 12 years. It took them a while to come up with some barrels that they were happy with. That had been resting long enough that they knew it would be a good 10-year. So it just took them a little bit while. And 10-year is not the easiest thing to find. I had some people tell me, look, I would have loved to have this with me, or with you, but we couldn't find it. So this is one I'll probably drink a little bit slower, but it also depends on whether or not I like it. So we'll see about that. See if there's any other tidbits. Yeah, that's about it. Anything else that you want to know about Bulleit, their history, the distillery? Excuse me. Go back to number 106, either here on Facebook or on our YouTube page at Beautiful Bourbon, and take a look at 106 to get all the nitty gritty on that. I didn't want to play the whole thing for you, so we're just going to go ahead and get this started with the original. I'm not going to give it a super proper tasting. I'm just going to prime the palate with this. I like this bourbon. I like the high rye notes. I like the spiciness to it. The balance is fantastic. Jim Murray, who does the Whiskey Bible, had very high marks for Bulleit. Even this original, but he liked the 10-year as well. He put that up in the, I think, 90 percentile or something like that. He does everything, balance, nose, palate, and finish. Everything is on a 25-point spread. And I want to say all of them got in the upper 20s. So this is a high mark bourbon for Jim Murray. All right, one more of these, and then I'll get into the 10-year. The original one is 90 proof. The 10-year is 91.2, so it's not going to be a whole lot of difference. The barrel strength is very good. Just had your first sip. Kevin, that's good to know. I've not had the barrel strength yet. I've got some. I just haven't opened it yet. And that's another one of those things where I have it, open it, right? I mean, look at it this way. This is 136, a number 136. I've opened over 136 different bottles in the last 136 weeks, right? Started this the end of 2020, I believe. Did one in April of 2020, I think. And I mean, so I actually went on Reddit recently because I was concerned. I'm running out of pours. But then people reminded me, well, what about this one? What about this one? Hey, I do have that one. I do have that one. So I started to get into it. And admittedly, I didn't go through and look and see what next week is going to be. So I'll have to do that later. But all right. By himself. I didn't get to see that. Oh, yeah. I drank all that by myself. Thanks. Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate that. Let's do this. Oh, yeah. Got to show off. I haven't done that lower third in a while, so it's time. Okay. All right. Okay, so, hey, Chris Webb is watching. How are you, Chris? Part of the Maumee Valley Whiskey Society. They've just started their paid version of their memberships. The more you pay, the more access you have to different things. So you might check that out. All right, one more of these. Okay, so that's the original. Now I'm going to be able to, I'm already primed. Brian's watching. Hey, Brian. Now I'm going to be able to get into the 10-year and see what the differences are. Let's start off with the nose. The color is markedly different. It's markedly darker. The nose on it is very similar to the original, a little more oaky, a little more spicy. Definitely not a timid nose. Those rice spices are really come out, although I just got some strawberry, a little bit of orange zest. Some of the similar notes that I got from the original back in July. There's some honey in there. A little darker, maybe toffee as well. That orange zest is really coming through. That's what I'm getting a lot of. All right, palate. Okay, where this is most definitively sweeter, this has definitely more of the tannins from the barrel in it. I would say it's a little bit spicier, not much, but that rye spice is peeking out more than it does on the original. The original's sweet, comparatively. This one is more spicy, leaning a little bit more over towards that rye. Very so slightly higher proof is showing itself a little bit, but I think it's more about the spice of the rye. It's definitely more oaky. That wood is definitely coming out and showing me more character. Yeah, just it's tough to describe. verbally. I mean, you look at the colors of the two, and you can see that this is visually darker. But how does that apply to the palate? If I say that it seems darker on the palate, the best way that I can describe the differences is that one is sweeter than the other. One has that really nice balance of fruit and spice and caramel, honey, vanilla, cinnamon, all those things, right? And it has a light feel. I've always thought that bourbon was the Bulleit was a little bit of a heavier bourbon. But comparing the two, for those of you who are beer connoisseurs, you may remember a Budweiser product called Ondecker. It was a full-bodied, not a stout, but a full-body, very heavy beer. So think about the difference between Budweiser and Bud Light, right? Now, take Bud Light, which is light, Budweiser, which is heavier, and then take Budweiser times 2, and you get the heaviness of Ondecker. I mean, it was a meal. You'd drink a meal, right? If I had to compare the no age statement Bulleit with the 10-year Bulleit, I'm going to tell you that I think that this is a darker pour to the palate. It's not as light. It's not as sweet. It is very rye spice heavy. It's just not the same pour. And if you're going after this, looking for Bulleit that you're used to, you're not going to find it here. There are some similarities, of course. They're the exact same mash bill, but the oak and the rye spice in this, is really showing much more than in the non-age statement, which I think is a 4-year, but it might be a 6. I don't remember. Might be less than that because there's no age statement. No, if there's no age statement, it has to be at least 4 for a straight, anyway. I'm not going to put this up there with the other 10 years. I was thinking about the Henry McKenna 10, Russell's Reserve 10, Eagle Rare, which is a 10-year. I'm not going to put this up there with that. I think it's good on its own. It's not, to me, as tasty as this. This is just tasty. This is good. I like this. So this is something that I can drink every night and be happy with it. This one, I think I would like this better in a cocktail. It's just got that darker side to it. Lots of orange zest on the barrel proof too. That's good. This doesn't have that sweetness, Kevin. This one has just it's darker. Let me see if I can pull any fruit notes out. Raisins. That rye spice is just, it's the cinnamons and the caramels and the rice spice are still there. I'm not going to go so far as to say that this is a rice spice that reminds me of the grains, the toasted cereals and bread crust, and it doesn't do that. It's not like that. This is a really nice Lawrenceburg rye. I tend to like the Indiana rye better than the Canadian rye. Landon's watching. Hey, Landon. We're doing the Bulleit 10-year. If you are looking for a comparison between the 10-year and the original is much lighter, much sweeter, much more flavorful in certain ways. This one is more mature in that it has a lot more oak in it. The flavors are more spicy. That rye is really coming out. But it's not coming out, as I was starting to say to everybody else, it's not coming out in the typical rye notes when you have a high rye. It's not giving me the twigs and the berries and the grass and the toasted cereals and the bread and all. It's giving me a heavy dose of cinnamon, a darker caramel, um, raisins, pepper, if I didn't know better, I'd say something in this tastes burnt. I am not satisfied with this tasting profile. I need to get into it a little bit more, see if I can pull something out of it. I should have probably poured this out and poured it back in and let it sit. I'm going to start doing that more often. I just opened it before we started, so this is neck pour all the way. I'm finding out, particularly with the Maker's Mark products, that those I've got to let breathe before I start with them, because I gave them a couple of really harsh reviews, and then just because I wanted something to drink and didn't know what else to drink, I pulled those bottles out and they were delicious. I gave them harsh reviews on the Bourbcast, and then later on had to come back and, I'm sorry. Same thing with Barrel Seagrass. Barrel Seagrass was really harsh coming out of the neck, but you give it a little bit of time, and all of a sudden, that's got some really nice flavor to it. So I'm going to start opening these and giving them some air before we do the Bourbcasts. I know a lot of times in the last couple of years, you've seen me open it on camera. I'm going to try to stop doing that. And if I do a neck pour, I will tell you this is a neck pour. This is a neck pour. All right. I just want to aerate this a little bit. For those of you that are familiar with the neck pour, I for the longest time I didn't believe in it. And it may not be fair to call it a neck pour, but it's a pretty good description, and now I'm starting to believe it. I'm starting to believe that there are some that you can open up and you need to let them open up. This one, open it up and drink it right now. It's okay. This one, I'm wondering what this will be like in a week. I'm all burpy, excuse me. All right. Here, let me do this again. Oh, it didn't do it. There we go. There. Yeah, see? I don't know if that's publishing or not. Caramels and cinnamons and oak. And raisins, and there is some orange zest in this as well. I think it's a hallmark of the Bulleit brand. It's just a little bit of an orange zest that just brightens it up in certain places on your palate. Hey, Teresa's watching. Hey, Teresa, how you doing? Happy New Year. I'm glad you're with us. I hope you've had a good day, and I hope you have a great weekend planned with lots and lots of drinking. All right, one more. Then we'll do this on water and open up a little bit. So, a note I just got Michael's watching. Hey, Michael. Thank you for watching. A note I just picked up on was a little bit of tobacco. A lot of times when you have a darker bottle like this, when it's been sitting in those tannins for longer, I don't know if it was the same barrel that it sat in for 10 years or if they rotated it. I couldn't find anything that showed me that they rotated from barrel to barrel to barrel. I think once they barreled it, they did their blend, they did everything they normally do, and then they barrel it and let it sit for 10 years. I didn't see anywhere where it was double barreled, where they moved it out into another barrel to try to get more oak into it. I think this is genuinely something that has sat in a barrel for 10 years or 11 years or 12 years, and then they take it out of those single barrels and they blend them, right? So this is not a single barrel, but everything that's here has been aged for at least 10 years, sometimes longer. I didn't see where they moved anything around other than to blend it at the end. So that color's got to come out of that original barrel or within the blend of other barrels. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Isn't that cool? Before Christmas, I spent a little money on some new shirts. Tired of wearing the same old things. I had to change it up. All right, so this is probably about a 1-to-1 ratio. I didn't pour a lot in here for this, and I just gave it a full milliliter to water it down. So let's see what happens now that I've really proofed it down. The nose is fruitier. What are you going to bet it's going to taste just like this? The colors are almost the same. Wouldn't that be crazy? Okay, it did get a little sweeter. It's still not as sweet as this. There's some very slight floral notes. There's some honey in it. That orange pops out a little bit more. The cinnamon definitely pops a little bit more. The caramel goes from a darker caramel to a mid-weight caramel. It definitely sweetened it up just a little bit. Just kind of tamping down those tannins from the barrel. It's nice on water. I like it neat, but if you're expecting it to be this, it isn't. It just isn't. It's a lot more rich, a lot more savory. Again, if we go to the bourbon tasting wheel, the flavor wheel, let's hit that real quick. All right, if I'm looking at that, if I'm looking at the sweet aromatics, vanilla, caramel, maple syrup, butterscotch, honey, that's where I would put the original no age statement Bulleit. This puts me up towards the spice part of it. I could see some clove being in this, so that's kind of what I'm thinking. Is getting over into that spice territory, that savory territory. It just doesn't have the sweetness that the original has. But it does bring back some sweetness once you put it on water. Either way, it's a nice pour. It's a nice pour. I like this. It's not going to be an everyday like this one, but I do like this pour. All right. And I do think that this would stand up better in cocktails too, just because there's so much more wood and so much more spice. If you're going to make an old-fashioned or something like that, I'm going to tell you, I think this would do a great job for you. Neat, I'm going to go with this one. I may feel different after a week, after letting this sit for a week, but we'll see. Let's apply a gorgeous ice sphere. I need to make more of these. This is my last one. And I think I've used this one before. I don't know. All Again, the exact same mash bill. 68% corn. Did I get that right? 68% corn, 28% rye, and 4% malted barley. It is a high rye. In this one, you can't tell it's a high rye. In this one, you can. I'm a silly man. All right, cooling this down. I haven't cooled it down much. So one review that I read said that they didn't like the mouthfeel on the 10-year. They said that that there was really no difference in mouthfeel between the two, and I disagree. I think that this is slightly, very, very, very minuscule. You have to look for it. But I do think this is the 10-year is just a little bit more creamy. Again, you got to look for it. But it's there. The mouthfeel is good. On ice, it's real good. Tobacco notes come out. Boy, I'll tell you what, that smoke of that oak, that comes out a lot. The extra time in the barrel is going to put more of that oak, those tannins in this bottle. And it's the smokiness that I'm getting over ice that I did not get before. Or did not detect so easily that it popped itself out. Like a hernia. For those of you with hernias, I'm deeply sorry. Deeply sorry. Get that checked. All right. Definitely getting more of that smoky oak on the ice. That's presenting itself almost over everything else now. I mean, the other notes are still there. Those rye notes, those cinnamons, those raisins. It's all there. But the smokiness of that barrel comes out to me more on ice than it does any other time. Because perhaps all the other flavors are muted, right? You put it on ice, those molecules slow down. They stop moving as fast. Right? It mutes the flavors. So if it mutes the flavors that you're used to neat and on water, what's it going to do but show what's left? And to me, that smokiness, I like this on ice. I do. I like it all the way through, but I like it on ice because it's different. It presented to me different notes than I got the rest of the time. I do like the 10-year. I like this one better as far as a daily. If I was just going to go and have a drink, have it neat, enjoy a bourbon because I love the way it tastes, it's going to be this one. If I want to do something with it, Quinn's watching. Hey, Quinn. How are you, sir? You're late, but that's okay. If I want to try something that's going to be in a cocktail or that, I'm looking for nuances or I'm looking for more smoke, more depth, more dark, not just in color, but in flavor profile, I'm going to go with the 10-year. I would not make this a daily pour. I would probably use this more in cocktails or put it over ice. Because even with this one, I tend to want to have this cooler than room temperature. I talked about this last July, how we got this one out and I put it on the air conditioning vent because I wanted it to be just a little bit cooler than room temperature, maybe 70 degrees instead of 72. Just a little bit. This one, I like it when it's cold, probably for the same reasons. It's just a little bit heavier, a little bit darker. I do like it cold. I like it on ice. All right. So, I do not remember what I have on deck for next week. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. It is in a box. This box. Pardon me, I went shopping. Here it is. I believe this is next week. Also by viewer request, I'm going to try the Jim Beam Black. I don't know much about the Jim Beam Black. I've never had it. But a viewer requested it. This is extra aged. Says world's highest rated bourbon. We'll see about that. It's only 86 proof. By giving our classic Jim Beam Black the important added ingredient of time in our charred white oak barrels, we discovered the smooth caramel and warm oak notes of this extra aged, premium extra aged bourbon, a full-bodied character that's definitely worth the wait. I don't know anything about it. I'll do some research on it. We'll talk about it next week. But the Jim Beam Black is what we're going to be doing next week right here. So follow us on YouTube. I guess I'm supposed to say, so hit that subscribe button. Dennis is watching. Hey, Dennis. Have you been with us before, Dennis? Welcome. I'm glad you're here. We're just getting done. We tried the Bulleit 10-year, and we put it back to back with the Bulleit no age statement. They're definitely different, so you're going to want to go back and watch this. And then next week we're going to get into this one. It's a viewer suggestion, so looking forward to it. Haven't tried it. Sounds good. And then the week after that is, what, if I have to look at the calendar, this computer's just moving really slow. Week after that is the 26th. A couple things to look forward to. Monday, there's no mail, Martin Luther King Day. A lot of people are off work, schools are out. Tuesday, the 17th, is National Bootleggers Day. Also, Hot Buttered Rum Day on Tuesday the 17th. Then on the 24th, Beer Can Appreciation Day. And on the 25th, National Irish Coffee Day. So keep those days in mind as we get ready for next week, the 19th. We'll come back with Jim Beam and the Jim Beam Black, extra aged. If you have suggestions, something that I haven't tried yet, go through the 136 Bourbcasts that we've done so far and see if there's something I haven't tried, and if there's something you want me to try, and give it my bourbon stewardness. Let me know what it is, and I'll do it if I can find it. If I don't have it, I got to find it. So don't give me anything that's hard to find, because, you know, find something that you are genuinely curious about. You know, if it's the E.H. Taylor and the Blantons and all that stuff, we've done all that. You can go back and look at those Bourbcasts, and I'll give you my review there. But if it's something that's new and different and unusual, there's some Pipe Dream or some Redwood Forest I haven't tried yet. As a matter of fact, I bought another bottle of the Pipe Dream tonight because I really like the Pipe Dream, and I realized I wanted some the other day, and I was out. So I had to go get some more of that. But anyway, I could go on and chat forever, but we will see you next Thursday at 7 o'clock for the double Jim Beam Black Extra Aged. That's what we're doing next Thursday. Check us out on Instagram. I don't know if I put my last photo up there. I'll have to do that. Instagram is so boring. You know, unless you're doing Reels, it's boring, and I don't do Reels on Instagram. So anyway, we're doing that, and of course the blog at beautifulbourbon.com or thebourbcast.com, and of course right here where you see us, and of course YouTube at Beautiful Bourbon. Check that out and subscribe because it helps my something. I don't know much about YouTube. I'm just doing it, and we got another subscriber today, so it's all good. It's all good. All right, guys, we will see you next Thursday. This one, not you get the chance to find this 10-year. Pick it up and see what you think of it. I'm going to let this sit a week, and maybe on Groundhog's Day, when we're revisiting a bunch of other ones, maybe I'll revisit this one too. Why not? You'll get to see me slur which is so rare. All right, guys. You have a fantastic what's left of your week and a great weekend. Keep it safe and make sure you drink your share. Take care.